And hello everyone. It's the Independent here. You probably don't know who I am considering this is my first video. But it's gonna be a fresh base guide which is inspired by Madlife. So it's everything that he runs before a game in solo queue. I'm not too sure about his online in the LCS or in the league that he plays in. I'm not too sure what he's running there. It might be different considering everyone else always runs different runes. But let's get straight into his abilities. Right, my life starts with maxing his Flay first, which is his E, if no one knows. But it's used usually to knock a person away, but also knock them towards you. So it's quite a good disengage tool considering most people playing like Leona nowadays or like all in dive kind of supports. Like for example, Brim's now coming on the scene. He's quite strong, so using an E to get him away may like save your ADC's life. But the kind of combo that you want to do is Q into so you land a hook on them and then you pull them towards you and try and not straight away flay them. Like hold the duration that they're locked down because they can't do anything. Like the more chance that you flay them straight away, it won't give them the chance to like be as locked down as they possibly could be. Like if you hold the Q for longer and then flay them back, like for the full generation, then they're not gonna have the trade's gonna go in your favor without a doubt. So he starts by maxing his E first, and then he follows by maxing his Q, and then R he gets every time he gets a chance, and then last maxing his W. Saying this, I still believe that Thresh's strongest ability is his Dark Passage. It can be used to make plays pretty simply. Like what you want to do is when ganked, you want to kind of stay away from the ADC because 9 times out of 10 people in solo queue they go straight for the ADC and they focus him. But if you give yourself like a chance to space out from the ADC, you can just chuck a lantern down and you just quite simply escape the gank. That's what most people don't realize nowadays. Like everyone tries to stop 3 people getting to your ADC by using like your flay or your hook. But if you just give yourself some space and just put the stupid thing, just put the lantern down, then they just take a simple route out. But yeah, it can also be used aggressively, but I don't advise it. Like, if you know that you're going to get a kill from it, then do it. And you're not going to put yourself or your teammate in a stupid situation and do it. But what you can do is flash whilst using the W. Like, if you get past a W and a person takes it and you flash, they will travel the whole distance with you. So it's quite a good gap closer. It's quite a strong gap closer. But following this is the box. The box is a good disengage tool. It's very strong. It can also be used if you hook someone, then jump onto them, then ultimate, and then you would flay them into one of the edges. So they would be slowed and they would take a lot of damage. But I prefer it as a disengage tool. Like as I said, most supports nowadays are dive on champions, so they will dive towards you, and you could just put the box up and it just stops everything. Because it's slow, it just slows them, it CCs really well. Okay, so let's get straight into the runes. Right. Madlife runes that he's running currently are quite simple. It's 2 health quintessences followed by an attack damage quintessence. The health ones are pretty expensive, but I say they're pretty much needed on Thresh because he's really squishy at the start. Quite simply, he's really squishy. But if you stack health, it kind of gives a false impression of him. Like it makes a teammate seem like, oh my god, he's got a lot of health. He's gonna be really strong. We can't kill him, kind of thing. But he then runs flat marks, which are attack damage. It's quite simple why he does this. Thresh's auto attack range, even though it's just been nerfed, it's still strong. Followed by his E's passive, which every so often you get a powered up auto attack. So basically, if you run quite strong, but also good defense stats in your runes, you can use that passive to its like to its best ability, shall we say? Because if you're maxing it and you auto attack their ADC, I might do a guide about this, but if you auto attack their ADC whilst they're going for CS, yes, you'll probably take a hit from their support, but at the end of the day, you're hitting their ADC, which is a priority target. If you chunk their ADC down from a support and they go into a fight, your ADC is going to be full health and they're going to be doing damage. It's just a fair trade. And then he seals our flat armor, which is quite needed. Considering he goes so healthy, it's quite needed on Thresh. Even though it's only 9 armor, I would still have it every day because he needs it. Because he has one of the lowest armors in the game, starting from level 1. But remember to pick up his souls, which basically means every time a champion dies, like it drops more souls. But you want to, or neutral buff, like you want to pick up them souls. Like you don't want to die from them, that's just stupid. But every time you get a chance, you just want to pick one up because basically it stacks towards your ability powers and your armor, and it just gives Thresh so much strong stats. Like you can go just collecting souls a game and you don't need hardly any items and you'll still be tanky. Okay, so followed by magic resist glyphs, which is pretty normal. So masteries. Okay, so Thresh is quite a playmaking champion because every single one of his abilities is a skill shot or can playmake. But Madlife, after I watch these games, he likes to get involved with other lanes. He doesn't just gank, he pretty much ganks other lanes using his mobility. Because Thresh, if you land a Q in that other lane, most champions nowadays are in the mid lane, they're kind of anti-assassins, but if you get the lockdown of Thresh on them, they don't get a chance to heal or escape. But even if you burn a flash, it's worth it. So basically what he does is he runs a lot in the utility. He runs 14 in the utility, which is all about movement and it's just all about getting places quicker, which is fine because he then follows it up by 16 in defense tree. You need this 16 in defense because it stops a hell of a lot of harass. You probably don't need to go all the way down on 21 on Thresh because he does get tanky pretty quickly. Don't think that he's terrible as soon as he gets early game because he's not. So yeah, if you want to pause this at any time to slow it down to copy the masteries, then feel free, and it's not going anywhere. So followed by item sets. Now this is where it kind of gets a bit of my input on it as well. But he's been running Doran Shield, which is fine because it stops a lot of poke. However, you can run Ruby Crystal at the start, so you start with more health, giving that appeal that you're really tanky from the start, even though you wouldn't be because your armor's low, but you still would have enough health to take auto attacks from the ADC kind of thing. But he also has the Ancient Coin, which will then go into the Talisman of Ascension, which is good. It is probably the best item on Thresh. But I put the Sweeping Lens trinket to start with because the idea of the Sweeping Lens is you want to get it as soon as possible. As soon as you get level 9, you want to get it. You want to straight away get it, without a doubt, because you want to start taking control of the map. People don't realise how strong Drake is or how strong Baron is, and you want to take control of that map. Using the Sweeping Lens, basically you can scout out, it's like an Oracle's Elixir. You can scout out a certain area and you can get rid of any wards in that area. So I would advise that level 9, straight away get that. If you have money to waste, upgrade it straight away. But if you don't worry about it. You can just do it later. Following what I said about Madlife being a kind of Thresh player that likes to go different lanes, he uses mobility boots, which then gives him the capability of getting to different lanes and also getting back to bot lane, because he's obviously going to need to be there with the ADC. So he quick rushes them, which is fair enough. So follows this, he gets the first Sightstone, so he just gets normal Sightstone. This is obviously needed on any support, unless you play Nidalee and you don't build it right and you just go full AP Nidalee in support, because that's just what half the people do nowadays in solo queue. But you want to go Sightstone without a doubt because it saves so much money. Like, you want to use it to ward any potential places where you think the jungler will gank. Like, I'm not going to say where because different junglers gank from different ways. Like, so Fiddle will gank from differently from Lee Sin, let's say. But you want to make sure that you kind of understand where their jungler's ganking from, and then you just ward that place out. Like, also try and keep the brushes warded because you can then poke their support or ADC as much as possible. But following this, they get their Talisman of Ascension, which also gives you money. Like, it's not just good for engaging and disengaging; it also gives you a lot of money. Like, if you start with this item, you will get a lot of money. With the utility tree as well from the masteries, you'll be earning a decent amount of money. But yeah, this is a must buy. The Mikhail's Crucible. I probably said that completely wrong, but this is a must buy for me. As a support player, I usually play them like Alistair, Thresh, all these champions. You can keep your ADC alive, but no one peels nowadays in solo queue. So having this is a strong item. I advise it on any support that you play. Basically, what it does is it removes CC, and also it removes CC, and it also gives a little bit of health back to the person you use it on. So not saying you should just use it on the ADC. Like, you can use it on your mid laner. Anyone's kind of squishy, you want to use it on because it will just save their lives, and it's just the cooldown's not that long. It's just so worth it, and it's so cost efficient. For 1,600, it's so cost efficient. Like, it still gives you magic resist and mana regen. Like, it's just worth it. So make sure you get that one, guys. Then it goes into upgrading his Ruby Sightstone. So now you get to this time in the game where you might be winning lane, might be losing lane, and the junglers are getting more involved. So basically what you want to do is, if you're winning lane, be careful about it, but start warding up their jungle. Start getting a bit more map control, because it also helps your jungler. Like, if he understands that, oh, their jungler's bot, I can then gank top. Like, or he can prepare for a counter gank, and then you can just bait it, kind of thing. If you understand me? But a Ruby Sightstone, I would say around mid game is where you want it. And then I follow this with upgrading the sweeping lens to the Oracle lens, because truthfully, as a support, not many people buy wards nowadays. So you want to dominate everything. You want to have on the map control. Like, say Drake's coming up, you want to clear that out, and then you want to put your wards down so you know what's going on. So you straight away get that. And then followed by Banshee's Veils. Now this is where it kind of gets a bit different. See, you could go Randuin's Omen for tankiness, or Ages of Allegiance, which then builds into Locket of Iron Solari. But say their team's very AP based, like, you could go straight into Locket of Solari, and then you'll be able to have an aura, which basically your whole team, like, actually no, I think one of your team gets, and it will make their magic resist like stronger and stuff like that. So it's very cost efficient item. But Banshee's Veil is quite a, not selfish, but it's quite a all-in item. Say you're Thresh and you're going in and you're charging in, and you land a hook. Say that Banshee's Veil is on and they try and stun you before you can follow it up. They won't be able to do that because you will have a shield from Banshee's Veil, which basically stops any ability for like one time, and then you get a cooldown. But it's not bad because it gives him health and magic resist. But you can debate that you would go this or Randuin's Omen. Say you're against a full AD team, you straight away want to go Randuin's Omen, without a doubt. Randuin's Omen is a strong item at the moment. Like, its ability to slow everyone, to boost up stats, but reduce their stats is incredible. Like, it's really strong at the moment. I advise it. But it also gives you health and armor, so once again giving that feel that you're strong. Like, you've got armor and you've got health. Like, this is all things that Thresh needs. But you could straight away like max out your items. Like, you could straight away do it. There's no problem with it. But like I said, if you want to control jungles, control everything, you need that one space for pink wards and sideboards, because